All right, on today's episode, we have Luke, owner and founder and CEO of Legacy Solar and Electric out of Bloomington. We go way back to him getting started as a school physics teacher, starting Legacy Solar and Electric, being a family man and trying to have that balance of family and starting a business, running a business. And then we learn a lot more about solar and batteries and the different incentives that are out there and what's gone and what you need to know and how it can be beneficial. So tune in, enjoy, and thanks for watching.
You are now entering the
Welcome back to Inside the Box. Andrew Bartlett here, and today I have Luke Luginbuhl. Did I get it?
You nailed it.
All right.
Yeah,
With
nice
Legacy Solar and Electric out of Bloomington. Well,
Yeah.
right by Bloomington.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Excited to talk. We just got our solar installed on our building, so I figured it was a good time to have you on and dig into the business a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to get it turned on for you and get you offsetting some of those power bills for you this year.
Yeah. We the other day actually, I kind of took advantage of the just the solar panels sitting out there and made a little piece of content.
Yeah.
About what did I make it about? Oh, it was about how do you handle people telling you that your product's too expensive or your service is too expensive? And I basically talked about it's not, you got to make the problem more expensive than the solution.
Yeah.
So and I was like, I don't want to buy a bunch of solar panels, but if I don't, I got to spend $1,000 on my electricity bill for the rest of my life.
Right. It's a chance to give you control, and I think you saw that. It's like you run my media company or my media side for me. So, yeah, I know that's good. It's exactly right. It is a big upfront cost, and there are ways around that for sure. But you definitely got to show the value. Somebody has to want to do it and has to want to save money and also create a moat around their home or business. In other words, it also is a cost protection in that if there's volatility, as it continues to go up, you're fixed in at a current rate. And you're fixed in. That gives you a hedge, peace of mind. Really is what we sell is peace of mind.
Yeah. So just going back, how did you get into solar? How did you decide to start a solar company?
Yeah, absolutely. Depends how far back you want me to go. But in 2017, I was still a high school physics teacher.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I was 2004, I graduated from Illinois State University. We were just talking about that, and had a teacher education, a physics degree. And I just want to change the world. One student at a time.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, I really love energy and power. And as a teacher to provide, I was flipping homes and things like that during the summer. I know you're into some real estate and have done some of that as well. Listen to your other podcasts. And so that I've always been interested in the energy aspect and being able to control that aspect. So it's always been there. And I always was a little bit entrepreneurial because I was like, let's flip homes. Let's do businesses on the sides. My funniest business I ever started was a worm business. I've
got worms.
I got worms, exactly. No, I really
little
did
Dumb
that.
and Dumber reference for anybody that's
Anybody grew up in the 90s, right? So we lived in Mackinac on a lake association right by the boat ramp, one of my house flips, and so we used to sell worms out of that thing, and people put money in my little box, and I'd come away on a big weekend with $500 in my pocket.
That's funny.
So I was always entrepreneurial, and my wife's father, my father-in-law, was into business as well. He owned some ag businesses around Quincy, Illinois, and also started a solar business over in Quincy as well.
Oh, okay.
So I had the business background, and my dad was an electrician, and so somewhere in my 30s, I was like, hey, what am I doing here with life, right? I had peaked out of where I wanted to go teaching-wise, and so it was a combination of passion, love for building. We actually flipped our way into what we thought was our dream home at the time. I don't know if anybody's been there, where you get what you want, and then you're like, oh, we're going to change it. But we had a couple of acres out in the country, and we wanted to make it net zero. And what net zero means is that you produce enough energy to offset anything that you're consuming during the day. And this was early on in the energy incentives. Again, we're in a more mature market now. You're coming in a little bit later, but this was probably 15.
Yeah.
We're still figuring some of that stuff out. And as I was flipping this home, we did spray foam insulation. There were government incentives for geothermal. And then we saw this solar credit. And I'm pretty mechanical. I have some background in the trades. And I'm like, let's look into this thing here. And sure enough, we were able to do it on our own home because I'm a government employee. I know how to put up a government paperwork and government bullshit. So I filled all the paperwork. I was able to incentivize myself to basically put that solar system on.
Nice.
And so simultaneously, we're talking about businesses to start, things like that. And my father-in-law and I were kind of brainstorming. We're like, we think we could make this go. And so we kind of put our heads together. And that's where we started sister companies. He started on the western side of the United States, or in Illinois, not the United States, the western side of Illinois. And I started in Bloomington. And that's how we started.
Wow.
Just like that.
So did you install your own solar?
Oh, yeah,
at that point?
absolutely.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so you guys didn't see me this week, but yeah, that's how I started for years. I was up on, we'd sell a job. I'd sell it, design it, install it myself. So I did that part-time for a number of years. And then I started working with subcontractors, and eventually I hired my own crew, brought that inside. A few of the guys I was working with out in the field wanted to come and be part of our company at Legacy Solar Plus Electric.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how it started.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, no, that... I know that always seems like that'd be nice to be completely off grid.
Yeah.
You just never know, especially with the prices going crazy and everything like they have. And yeah, I had been considering it, and there was always incentives for it, obviously for the last however many years. And honestly, what really pushed me was, well, one, meeting you guys and bringing it to light. But God, they just had the electricity bill just jumped.
Yeah.
Like crazy. It went up so much all of a sudden, and I was just like, holy shit, I guess I should actually evaluate this and make a decision. Right. And then they were going to end the old way that, kind of the incentives, some of those incentives and stuff. And I was like, all right, I better figure this out if I'm going to do it.
Yeah. What was it that pushed you over the edge? That was like, hey, this is why I went. Because again, it was a big upfront cost to you, and you chose to do it that way.
Well, it was, like I said, it was like all of a sudden my electricity bill was way higher.
Yeah.
One, we had kind of met, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we're discussing working together anyway. So obviously we like to work with clients that work with us.
Right.
And then with the incentives coming to an end, at least those incentives.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, I'm like, there was just kind of those,
a
bunch of stuff happening at once that I was just kind of like, all right, you know what I mean? Let's just do this. And I always am. I'm always a long-term thinker. You know what I mean? And if I'm going to save money over the long term, let's invest it up front. And make it happen. So no, I'm excited to get it rocking and rolling here. The app looked interesting. I didn't know they were disconnecting it right after he showed it to me. So I got home. I'm like, babe, look at this. I'm like, wait, it's not connecting. Work. What's going on? And then so I'm messaging them the next day. They're like, oh, no, we had to disconnect it until it gets approved. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was just disconnected already.
Yeah, your power company, CWLP, doesn't allow us to leave it on. They want to make sure everything's hooked up correctly. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're excited for you. And as part of our closeout process, we come by and walk you through the app and make sure you understand everything. But it sounds like you're on it, which is super fun. And then you can see it. It's funny is you can tell the weather by how your panels are producing.
Yeah.
If you're on vacation somewhere, you can look at it and you can know the weather.
Yeah, that was interesting. It was showing like how much you're using, how much you're producing. No, I'll probably look at it too much just because it's interesting,
Yeah, it definitely is.
So what with the credits ending, and that was confusing to me, and you guys did a great job of explaining it. What is and now I know there's several other different ways to still, get solar affordably and whatnot. What are some of those best ways for people to take advantage of that nowadays?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different categories. One of the things we do is we do education first. And it is difficult because with the big, beautiful bill, it actually changed things overnight. And some industries have a bit as effective. That was one of them. They took a several-year plan and converged it, and they said, we're just going to be done with it. So it led to some more of like, hey, if we're going to do this, you need to do it under these sets of rules.
Yeah. From a business standpoint, was that like a scary thing for that ending, or how you know what I mean? It's just, it's weird when political changes affect a business. You know what I mean? And I'm just curious, like right now, I think Pritzker, one of them, like suggested taxing the social media companies, like, I don't remember what it was, $10 per user or something per month. And I was like, oh, great. How the hell is this going to work? Are we going to have to start paying to be on Facebook? So I'm just curious from, how that handled that, or worried about that, or you just pivot, or. You
just got to pivot. It is because it unfortunately has become political. It wasn't originally the first 5, 6, 7 years. This is year 9. First 5, 6 years, it really wasn't political. It was pretty much neutral. It's like, hey, we can provide this. Unfortunately, the last few years, it's become more of a political topic, just because of lack of education on both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. I think one side of the aisle is like, hey, we're going to go 100% renewable energy, which is, while might seem great on paper, is unrealistic entirely. And then you got the other side that says, look, the power prices are high because of the solar policy. Mm-hmm. No, the solar got thrown in on that. That's because they shut down the other power plants too fast. That's why it's specifically you're tied on to the Ameren network, a grid, even though it's CWLP. And you guys, which is really cool, this is totally nerding out stuff, like energy nerding out stuff. Springfield actually owns its own power plant. Years ago, different municipalities could own their own power plants, which was actually really cool because as a community, you could actually shelter your power prices at that point. Well, that's gone by the wayside at this point. And so what's happening, because a lot of our power from Illinois is actually not purchased in Illinois, we're going to the open market. It's not produced in Illinois. And so that's when you see the prices spike, and they have to buy it on market prices from other places. And so that's why people are feeling the burn. I'd say this summer more than ever, we saw people get upset about their bill more than ever. Yeah. So yes, the incentives wound down. We have definitely corrected as a business. We are now way more on the electrical contracting side than we are on just the solar, like what we did with you. We developed a deal, developed a plan, and executed. So we definitely have pivoted to hopefully what we feel like is a much more even-keeled business model. Yeah. So, but yeah, there was definitely a correction in the market. And for all those of you that have been door knocked like 4, 5, 6, 7 times, I promise you it wasn't us. I promise. And we're sorry. I'm sorry that it was disrespectful. It was way too much. And that market got too hot. It got, with the incentives, you had the federal incentives, you had the state incentives, and sometimes things get too hot. Yeah. And it actually creates in this case, you had some.
Everybody was trying to just.
Everybody, because it was a huge money grab.
Well, then there's a lot of companies that are just selling it but not doing it.
Yeah,
like there's subcontracting.
That was a ton of them. Yeah, there's subcontracting everything out. Yeah. That's part of how we distinguish ourselves. Is we sell it, we deal with it, we deal with the incentives, and we walk people. It's the power of local. Yeah, and people that care and want to be here for the long haul, right?
But even now, right? There's a way that. One of your team members was breaking this down to me. You can essentially get you can get solar with like little to no cost, right? It's
yes
on your house. What is that again?
That's called a power purchase agreement, or a lease. Yeah, that's become really popular right now. So the incentives for businesses, and so in a PPA, you actually don't purchase the equipment. You go into a contract, and then a larger investment company actually owns your panels. So you make them a payment each month. They're harvesting the credits and the tax credits and the depreciation for their businesses, where homeowners can no longer access the federal tax credit, and they can no longer, and an individual can't harvest like a depreciation credit.
Yeah. So the bigger companies putting up the money.
Correct.
And then you're making a payment to them.
Yep.
But it's less than you'd be spending.
That's our goal, is to make it less than. And then that's where education, find a really good company that explains it and doesn't rush you and rush people and say, hey, because again, people are upset about their power bills. So looking for answers. And what that does is it creates vulnerability. And that's where we really want this market to slow down.
Yeah.
That's where we really, because there's vulnerable people that are worried about making their power bill, right? And are making that, because again, in some cases it went from 100 to 2 or 2 to 4. It literally, power prices doubled. We saw this past year.
Yeah, I think ours was normally like $600 or $700 here, and then it was up to like 1,000.
Right.
I was like,
yeah, for a homeowner, right? It's like that gut punch. I know that's one of the things I was able to fulfill my dream. I remember back in the day, I was able to get $15, and that's how I'd sell. I'd just slide over. Here's my bill, $15 Ameren bill. How would you like that? And it would be like, okay, let's talk about that. And it was before the oversaturation, where people are just solar exhaustion with like really high pressure sales tactics have been out there. And so unfortunately, I'm excited for that. I know it sounds weird, but I'm actually excited for the correction. Because now we can get back to a lot of those fly-by-nighters, the people that are looking for the high-pressure salespeople that are really good at sales are now on to something else for a little while, or to a different state, because that's what they'll do. They'll travel state to state. They'll hire college kids in marketing departments and sales departments. They'll just blitz the heck out of
I remember
places.
We had a couple come to our house out in Sherman, and then I also learned that it's actually illegal in Sherman to go door knocking without a permit.
Right.
Because people were complaining about them coming around. But yeah, they were young kids. Jeez. Yeah, they
just
were
hustling, man.
Yeah, they were definitely in college or something. Was it even during like the credit time? Like I remember with me, I was like, was it always a challenge to kind of like explain how that all works to people?
Still is a challenge. Yeah. We try to do little tools and try to give visuals. It is very challenging. Anytime the government's involved, it gets very complicated. Yeah. And it does create a moat around us. Again, other contractors in the area don't necessarily want to do solar, because again, there's so much misunderstanding that can happen. And at the end of the day, we want a good customer experience. We want them to be satisfied with what they got, so that we get more referrals and we can do more business. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge to slow it down and make it line by line. Like, here's how, because there's 3 or 4 different incentives and everything. Yeah. Even with the lease deals, they need to understand those contracts and what they're signing up for. Yeah. They're big. They're big contracts.
Well, and sometimes it's like, this seems too good to be true. You know what I mean? Or something.
Right.
It's
and
like,
then sometimes it's not. Right.
I think I even said to you guys at one time, I'm like, what am I missing here?
Right. Yeah, you got in on a good deal. Let's just say that. You got in on the right time.
I was glad we were able to slip it in there.
Right. But yeah, my volume is definitely down from a couple years ago in that specific realm of our business, for sure.
Well, it's nice that you did the electrical yourself also, so you had the option to make that pivot, you know?
Yeah. I have a lot of really good people that work for me, and that's the strength, is they're saying, hey, what do we want to do? And they're like, hey, let's go after this specific market. And we've done enough business in Illinois now that we were able to gather relationships and get some contracts and really pivot. So we pivoted hard last year.
Yeah, was that a tough thing to like change your mindset on that, or was it?
I think ever since I jumped out, growth mindset's a really big deal. It's actually one of our core values. And no matter where you're at, I think safety, no matter where you're at, is just an illusion anyway. And we just got to live in the moment, if that makes sense. That's the reality. And so my physics brain and my very analytical brain can say, oh, wow, that emotionally is scary, but is it actually scary? What do the numbers say? What do the probabilities say? Mm-hmm. Right. So in a case like that, it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of different options once you allow the emotion to process and pass. Right. And usually there's multiple ways through or out of. And in this case, we chose to pivot part of our business. And actually, it was less stressful. I had a shop up in Rockford, a facility up in Rockford. And I'm like, let's go ahead and just bring it all back into Central Illinois. And honestly, it was less stress. So once we started that process, it was less stress. We were able to recoup, honestly, past what we were already doing in income with the two legs. And now I feel like as a stability, we're a way more stable company.
Nice.
So the process, it was my teacher.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but yeah, it's always, I feel the emotion of fear, all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it's just an emotion.
Everyday thing running
right.
a business.
You do business and kids and everything else.
Yeah.
Power bills, you can feel the fear,
Well, and I can't even imagine having to deal with like all the stuff you guys had to deal with submitting paperwork for credits and you know what I mean, all the government side of it. Like that would just annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah. Again, finding the right hire, right person, right seat is like what I stole. I'm sure I stole that from somebody that was motivational.
Yeah.
The right person, right seat. There are people in this world that love to do paperwork. You and me, Andrew?
Yeah.
Not the paperwork guys.
Jesus.
I've done it, but if I do it for too long, I die a little on the inside.
Yeah.
So, but we create jobs as small business owners, right? Our goal is to create jobs and the right fit for people, right? And so I think that's part of our genius is what people sometimes might get annoyed with us or think we're a little bit crazy. We see like what's happening, and then behind it, we do create jobs, and because there's somebody that wants to read through government paperwork and sit at a computer and submit to CWLP all day long.
Yeah.
Me, you forgot the stickers?
Right.
Oh my gosh,
come on,
red stickers.
Yeah. That's funny. So what year did you say you started Legacy about? What was that?
2017.
2017.
I sold 5 deals that year. One was for I count my own. One was with my father-in-law, so I counted that one, and then. 3 others that were, yes, we did 5 of them that summer.
2017.
And it was going to be a really cool summer job. It was going to be like, hey, let's test this thing out. It's going to be a really cool summer job.
It's kind of a cool thing when you're a teacher, you kind of have your summer to
Except
do whatever, explore, whatever. You know what I mean?
You think so, if you just live a real basic lifestyle, but then when you start having kids and things, it's, and I ended up finding myself as working a ton of hours anyway, just to make up for the income with kids and lifestyle.
I used to want to be a teacher at one point.
You still can. Maybe you'll be able to fill that dreams at some point.
Well, I used to. I thought it'd be cool to just teach the stuff I know, and I mean, I guess I do that a little bit. You know what I mean here, and not. But I mean, obviously doing it with kids. I'd actually would really love to homeschool my kids. I think I would have fun doing that a lot. Have a lot of interesting ideas on how to do that, but
How old are your kids?
My oldest will be 7 next month. So 7, 5, and 3.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, they're youngins. How many kids you got?
I've got 4.
4, nice.
So again, that's where I was like, at that time, I'm like, how am I going to pay for all these kids? And
I'm still wondering that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just keep selling solar, I guess. They keep signing up media accounts, right?
Exactly.
Keep signing up good companies, right?
How old are your kids?
17, 15, 10, and 8.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was part of it. Is we're living a lifestyle, right? We had that 3 acre little kind of hobby farm. I didn't really want the chickens. My wife did, and I'm like, whatever. But it was really cool to have the kids out in that environment, kind of a free and open environment, and then to be able to bring the energy side into it is really cool. And we actually did homeschool for a few years when our kids were younger.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, Angie did, and she wanted to stay home. So again, that kind of puts some perspective as to it was tight, but
I was talking to my wife about that. I'm like, I feel like it would be pretty easy to homeschool until high school, and then I'm like, I feel like things get a little bit more challenging with classes then. But I was like, well, with AI and everything, I feel like you just have a teacher at some point here.
Yeah.
AI is coming fast. But have you guys, out of curiosity, you guys like implement AI in any way into your business? Have you played with it much?
A ton of stuff behind the scenes. Me and my leadership team, we use it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing what it can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Luckily, you're in a pretty safe business where it's not going to be putting you out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, I think there will be people flocking to the trades, right? Like if we want to go Matrix style, down the conspiracy theory, right? What does AI need? It needs power. So I feel really good about the business that we have and what we're doing.
No, you guys are in a great position.
We'll keep the solar thing, and battery incentives are coming and things like that. Some really cool things coming down the pipeline that not everybody can see yet. But either way, we can shift to energy. And I do believe in renewable energy and sustainable energy and clean energy, but it has to be a holistic solution. It can't just be like,
that's how I look at it too.
Just cut it all off. Well, yeah, of course, you can't just rely on solar.
Right.
What do you do at night?
Yeah.
You can't just do that. And batteries are expensive and they're heavy and they're hard to make.
Yeah.
Right? And so
I was actually just reading this thread. So Tesla dropped a $60,000 version of the Cybertruck.
No way. I've not seen that
yet. All these people were talking about how, because it has power share where it can like back up your house.
Right. That's
and they're like, so what would it cost to buy like the same amount of batteries to equal the power that a Cybertruck has if you're buying Tesla batteries?
Yeah.
So if you're buying Tesla batteries, it would cost somewhere around like $110,000 to get the same amount of batteries that are in the Cybertruck.
Oh my gosh.
So people are like, could just buy a Cybertruck and drive it around, and then if I ever need to back up my house, just plug it in. It's like a cheaper option.
I had somebody say, hey, they're going to buy a Cybertruck. They're going to go to where the municipality pays for it for free all day long, and they're going to go and plug it in at night and then power their house off the There you go. If anybody's trying to save some money. I'm sure at some point they'll figure it out and shut it down, but I think that's a really cool option that you could power, vice versa, power your house off your car. And there's some really interesting microgridding type situations. I think it's going to be, as much as AI is changing everything, the way that homes and businesses are being powered is also changing. It's going to change a lot over the next 20 years. Yeah.
It's crazy that all the stuff they're having to do to power these freaking plants they're building to power the AI.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's nuts how much power these things. Like I never even really thought about it, but they're just, it seems like every day you hear about Amazon's building this, or you know what I mean, OpenAI is building this, and it needs like this much power. It's like holy shit.
Yeah, back to the Matrix. Hopefully they don't use us as batteries anytime soon.
Jeez, yeah.
That would be scary.
Actually, I was talking to one of my clients about just how our solar works, how it gives energy back to the grid. You get credits, whatever. And he said, he's like, I'm actually taking advantage of that a little bit because they need, I guess they like lease land from him and they put battery packs on his land to store the extra energy that's coming back to him. And I was like, that's pretty nice, I guess.
Yeah, batteries are coming big time. This last year, some legislation. And a year from now, my prediction is I'll be selling a lot of batteries to individual homeowners. There's some policy change within Illinois. They're removing. They've seen like, okay, the power spiked up. Like, they kind of had the oh crap moment. Like people are really upset, right? And they've known that was coming. That happened. Now we're at that threshold. Power is never coming back down price until you create more supply. Mm-hmm. And so Illinois actually lifted some of its bans on how you can power Illinois. And part of that, with that, because they lifted to what's called a moratorium on nuclear power, so it allows that to be opened back up. But with that, they allowed homeowners and businesses to create battery packs that will peak shave the grid. Have you ever heard of the concept peak shaving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the night, it's the cheapest power that you can buy. Because you got to think about a commodity market. Like, hey, if you sell, I'm trying to think of a good commodity that people like grain. A lot of farmers, a lot of rural type people that we serve here. Like, you want to sell when that grain price is at the highest. But if you look at the little ticker, it's going up and down. Power is just like that. So when it comes into the grid, Ameren has to buy it at that rate. Mm-hmm. The cheapest, because the demand's low, is actually at night. And so what happens is during the day or when everybody's at home, you get this curve where you start drawing way more power. It really stresses the grid. That's somewhere in the evening right now is where we have it, because in the day we have so much solar. We're powering almost all Illinois with like solar and wind, which is actually really cool if you think about it. But again, doesn't help us. They didn't think it all the way through.
Yeah.
Right. Good. It had the right heartbeat behind it, right? Maybe, But anyway, when everybody turns on their switches, they draw that power in it. We call it there's like a curve, like a energy demand that goes up. What they're going to do in Illinois, they're going to allow us now, if we have batteries, to release your batteries on the grid that you've stored up at that time, and they're incentivizing people to do it. That'll be about a year from now, which finally they have a solution, because now the cost doesn't fall on taxpayers. Right? It actually falls on people that want to be proactive like yourself, that actually will see their real estate as being able to make money, like I might as well.
Yeah.
Okay, if it pays for itself, and what's the ROI? Now it becomes an ROI conversation, and now they if you dump at the right time, again, it'll be all AI driven. It's gonna be this policy change is gonna probably drive the most change we've seen in Illinois policy and Illinois energy. Probably we've never seen anything like this, because now you're truly freeing up the grid.
Interesting.
Right. So now let's say you have 1,000 houses all with batteries, right? And they say trigger the demand curve, just like a stock price, trigger buy, right? Triggered release. There's going to be major competition out there for people to do this out of their home. And so it's going to create this market that's like real, which is actually cool. So now that you can store it during the day, and then you can actually use homeowners and businesses to dump it at night.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
So is it pretty hard to like when somebody has solar already or something to just like add batteries to their system after the fact?
Batteries are so this is where I want, if I could tell anybody, this is what we're telling. I'm actually right now, when you're at the shows, I'm running an anti-battery campaign because some other companies are pushing them too early. And they're going to gobble up the incentives. So I'm like, just wait just a little bit. Solar is like, it's almost an accessory to your house. It's like changing out the windows, or like adding some stickers to your car, some paint. Going to batteries is like changing the engine of your car. Okay, it's way more technical and complicated than what sales reps and salesy type of people have any idea. And that's where I really am concerned about what's coming. I'm excited for it, but I also know what we just saw with the solar wave is we have a lot of bad actors trying to make a quick buck. So I'm all for making sure we have the proper checks and balances in place, so that homeowners, now we're getting serious. We don't want homeowners to feel even more pain or to get ripped off in this situation, or being sold something that doesn't do what it actually says they're going to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That would be nice to have some incentives for that too, I guess.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to be coming back to you probably in about a year from now, saying, "Hey,
it's time."
Yeah, let's show you. Hey, let's. And we're going to do that for we have thousands we have probably 3,000 customers across the state, and so at one point we were installing probably of downstate Illinois, we were probably installing 15 or 20% of all systems.
Wow.
We had a huge market. It was actually pretty cool. I don't think we knew what we were doing at the time. Like, we didn't realize that's what was happening, but then when we started running the numbers, we're like, oh, here's our numbers. Holy, wow. Yeah. That's wild how many systems we were doing for a little while there. So,
how has the
back to that. So I'll be coming back to, if I've sold you a system, I'm coming back with batteries. And even if somebody else puts you a system on for you, I'm coming back with batteries. So would love to talk to them in about a year.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have that, existing database of people you've worked with that, know they can trust you or whatever to go back to.
Yes.
So since 2017, obviously technology changes fast. Like, how has the solar panel technology changed in that time? Like, is it pretty significant each year? At a point, I know that it kind of gets to a point where it's like, all right, they're about as efficient as they're going to get, at least with today's technology.
Well, that's a great question. It's a very nerdy question, but a great question. Solar panel technology has hardly changed at all, and it's not going to change. There's a lot of really nerdy things we go into about why. Where we're going to change is the way that the energy is distributed and the way that it switches on and off. So the batteries, the way your home is powered itself with the smart controls and things like that, that's where you're going to see the biggest change.
Okay.
Yeah, so efficiency-wise, they'll make 0.5% or less gains, but it's not like, it's like you can, I don't remember what we did on yours, but you still had room on your roof.
Yeah.
They're that efficient, to meet some of your own power demand. So
yeah, I think the team said, are they putting any more up there? I was like, no, that's all we need. And I think it's supposed to be a little bit more than we actually need. So
flat roofs are nice. So you have a nice flat roof. Flat roof and ground mount space is great, just because you typically have the real estate you need to offset your bills.
Yeah. It was interesting that you with the like framing system they use. I was looking at the drone footage, and I was like, are those just cinder blocks holding that up there? And I was talking to your guys about it. And he's like, yeah. He's like, with the way it works, you just put the cinder blocks on there, and then I saw how they like each little thing connects to the next panel, and I was like, I mean, I guess in my head I was like, I feel like that would work. You know, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but there's enough of them, and then on top of that, obviously the building has a little bit of a lip, you know, so it's protecting some of the wind. And I was like, if they can do it with no penetration, like obviously that's way better. We don't have to worry about it. They have less liability. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, flat roofs and ground mounts are my favorite from just a sheer liability standpoint. We don't mind doing metal roofs or shingle roofs, but yeah, there's definitely more liability in those. So. Yeah,
you know, worry about leaks and everything.
Yep.
Not be fun to worry about. So starting the business, I guess actually let's back up a little bit. What made you want to become a physics teacher?
Man, I just felt, I know this is kind of Blues Brothery, but I just felt like a call on God just to make a difference, man. I just love kids, and I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to just...
Was that just a subject you enjoyed in school?
It was my best subject. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I think it was
a cool subject. I remember when I took, it was just like a basic physics class, I think in high school or something, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
I had some great physics teachers. I grew up in Roanoke, Illinois, which is obviously north of Springfield here, but just a small town, and it was very engineering type, physics type, and I just like, man, it was what I was good at, and I was just gonna go out there and just live a pretty simple life, teach my science, and take cool vacations because of the summer, and see where it take me. I liked the student aspect. I liked interacting with people. I liked like you said, it is fun teaching and helping people get that aha moment.
Yeah, I just remember little things like one of the first things I remember we did was like. You could roll the ball off the edge of the table as fast as you want, or drop it from here, and either way, it's hitting the ground at the same time.
Isn't
and I was like,
wild?
no way. I remember I was thinking, I'm like, no way. I'm like flinging it off there as hard as I can.
That was a good one.
But just little physics tricks like that, I just remember from the beginning, just kind of blew my mind. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I had a talent and knack for it, and other people didn't. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I think I had a little bit of pride that not everybody's getting this thing. So that's where we jumped in. And I liked all the labs. I did hands-on stuff all the time. We're always doing labs and demonstrations. And
you were doing that in your hometown?
I never did teach at my hometown.
Oh, okay.
I did do a few visits. I started in all around. I did a Central Illinois circuit. So I went to Havana, Illinois, taught out there. And then I did Washington Community High School in Washington, Illinois, and then ended up at University High School for Illinois State, teaching at Illinois State University.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at for college?
Illinois State University. Okay. So I had a good connection there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would be like, do you have any specific memories as a teacher that like really stand out the most? Like, I don't know, just like something a kid came up to you and said, or anything like that?
The fun stories or honestly, what I got to it was I actually enjoyed, so in each school I went to, we used to have, you had your physics classes, and these kids are just typically, they want to be there, they're smart, pretty intuitive, things like that. I mean, some of the kinds. I mean, one year I remember one of my favorite things is Morton has this pumpkin chunking. They call it the pumpkin chunking festival. And my kids,
you fling them.
Yeah, you fling them. And one of my favorite years is I had an advanced physics class. I challenged them to do a project. And they're like, they just begged me to do the pumpkin chunking contest. I was like, it's on you guys, but I'll help you and guide you. And so we did. I remember one time. Taking, again, advanced kids, smart as whips. I mean, just top tier kids, just going to colleges, really cool colleges. And I remember I'm like, we got to create a material list. Get their design. They're like, what? Somewhere along the line, they just missed that basic, like as smart as they were. And so we did let's do a field trip to Menards. And so literally in Washington Menards, we took a lunch period in their class, and I talked to school and give me a bus, and we literally went with a school bus to Menards and load that thing up.
That's hilarious.
Several of the students had never been to Menards in their life.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever done a hands-on competition with them. And so one style was this giant, traditional trebuchet where you start up high. You've probably seen the movies, and it drops down and it goes, flings it up and over. The other was super creative. I didn't know it was work. I was kind of scared a little bit on this one. They found it was like something out of Acme Comics, like Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner stuff. And they took this this tubing. They found, I don't know where they found this. this is probably early 2010s, maybe late 2000s, and so online we could buy stuff, but it was super sketchy back then. You don't know what you're buying or who you're buying it from. It was like the stretchy tubing. I think it was diver tube. Like I forget the tubing that connects like it's like a diver type tubing that connects like if you're
like oxygen or whatever.
Yeah, like an oxygen. It was super thick walled. Anyway, we built this giant thing that looked like a field goal post. And we tied
like a
4 corners and a giant slingshot. And that thing could really launch it, man. I was always worried that the rubber tube was going to. So they'd ratchet it, and I made them. I'm like, you can't stand close to this thing because if that thing comes back, your guys are. It's bad. I'm done for. They'll put me in jail.
Yeah.
So they came up with a method where they tie it up, ratchet it up, and they had this giant stick with a utility knife, and they cut the knife to release this thing. And man, that thing was so much. We had so much fun launching that thing.
Did that one do the best than the other one?
It did actually.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more straightforward, simple. I think on one of the days we're testing, the whole school came out because they knew we were doing it. A bunch of the kids in the school came out. The kids snuck out like TVs and monitors, so they started launching stuff. I don't know. Oh gosh,
that'd be fun.
It was fun. The physics teacher, what's nice is, especially downstate, all the administration kind of left you alone. They're like, hey, they're good. The kids are having fun. They're learning. Show me your thing. And then they just let you do what you wanted. It was fun.
We went to the. Do you know who Nate Bargatze is?
I do know Nate. Yeah,
he was here in town, and we went to the show the other night. And the host was kind of doing crowd work with people. Yeah. And he's talking to one kid. He's like, oh, we got a kid up here. That's awesome. We love when we see kids at our shows. And he brings the kid up. He's talking to him. And he's like, what's your mom do? And she's like a superintendent or something. Yeah. He's like, oh, what's your dad do? And he's like, he's a PE teacher. So he kind of makes fun of that. He gives the kid his shirt, whatever, sends him back. And then he goes up and he's kind of talking to the dad. He's like, PE teacher, huh? He's like, do you let your kids play dodgeball? And he's like, no. And then the whole crowd starts booing. You know what I mean? They're like, bring back dodgeball. Right. And then he kind of starts to move on. And then the dad's like, I teach at a school for the blind.
No way.
So then he just starts, it turns into a whole thing. And it was hilarious. But yeah, it was funny because it was just like, everybody knows like a lot of schools don't allow dodgeball anymore. Was
it the Big Dumb Eyes tour, or is he on a different tour now?
Yeah, Big Dumb Eyes. Yeah. I'm surprised he came to Springfield.
I wish I would have known. I don't know why I didn't catch it.
It was so good.
I bet it was so good. My 10-year-old boy and I, when he goes to bed, we listen to Big Dumb Eyes. That's one of his favorite because Nate borrowed a book, Big Dumb Eyes. So it's a good sleepy time book.
His book?
Yeah.
What is it about? Is it just like him. Stories?
It's just him being goofy, telling his little stories and little life lessons and just his goofy backward upbringing and
he
talking bad about himself.
I saw
laughing.
some reels of him like talking about the book, just it being out, but I didn't really say what it was about, and I haven't looked into it. But he's funny. I don't know, just the way he presents stuff is so good. Yeah, and no cussing.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well,
you
can listen to it with your kids, right?
Yeah,
and I had to explain a bunch of stuff afterwards. Yeah,
so funny. But that whole I work at a school for the blind. It was hilarious. Everybody started dying laughing. And then Nate came out because that was his host. And then Nate came out and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to have to do here. I guess, what am I going to have to fine him like the MLB?
Right.
You get $50 fine tonight for making fun of the guy that teaches at the school for the blind.
Right.
So, but it's I'm trying to remember some of the stuff we did in our physics. Like when you're bringing up that pumpkin thing and stuff, I'm like, God, we did some experiments and stuff, and I just cannot think of any. What school did you go to? High school, I went to Southeast.
Okay, yeah.
And that was the only physics class I ever had.
Sure.
And then I went to Lincoln Land and Western.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
But it, it was the physics. I'm trying to remember that he was the chemistry.
Did they ever do the one? Back to the one where you were shooting you dropped the ball and shot it, and they both hit at the same time. Did they ever show you? Did he ever have a vacuum tube where you put the feather in the penny when you remove air resistance out of it? That's a really cool one that always
I don't remember.
Similar on the same lines. It can really mess with people because you take the air resistance out, right? like you have a feather and a penny and a vacuum tube. You flip it over, they fall at the exact same simultaneous rate.
Right.
So it just shows you life.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know if we did.
Yeah.
Do you ever do any of that stuff with your kids when they were growing up? Just from your physics background?
Unfortunately, the older we have 2 rounds. We call them the 2 rounds, the littles and the bigs. That's probably inappropriate at this point, because the littles aren't so little anymore. But I think so. The 2 oldest were in my classroom all the time.
Oh, okay.
And so they were in my back room playing, and I'd have stuff set up. One of my favorites was we would you could make sound waves visible with fire. We'd have this tube, and you had drilled a bunch of holes in it, and then you pump it with the gas. I'd actually use the gas from the chemistry lab, pump it in there, and you light it up, and then you can make tones, and it would like change with the tones. Yeah, and so it was really cool. So like kids have that. My early kids have that experience, and they'll talk about it. My last 2, I've been so busy with the business.
I was going to say, because
that is
at
part
that
of
point,
this.
it would be completely different, really.
Totally different experience. I mean, from the littles to the big guys. So we ended up having to. I didn't have to sell it. One of the things that as a business owner you look back on, you're like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that. I ran the business out of my house. That's an ooh, I shouldn't have done that kind of moment. Not because I didn't like it, but there wasn't a separation between my business and my house. I didn't realize the strain that would put on me and my family.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I was kind of old school. I'm like, I don't want to lease anything. I just want to buy. I should just lease from one of my buddies in Bloomington, and just left that little farmhouse. So we ended up running the business out of the farmhouse and moving to a different house. And so I kind of blew one of my dreams. It's kind of one of those like, oh, well, now we know to keep the home and the business separate. You know? So just one of those little things. I'm sure you probably have some similar experiences.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, it's also weird deciding when. I mean, for me, it was like, okay, I'm probably going to hire somebody soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously I'm not, what am I having them come to my house every day?
Right.
And we were having a kid, and we only had one extra room. So it was kind of like, I don't want to say forced, but it was like, okay, now's the time. Let's try to take this to the next level.
You went right to a location. You were smart enough to go right to a location.
Yeah.
Right away, lease a place or
so I was in my, I had a home office, and it was nice at first, but then, we were having a kid, and it was like getting to a point where it's like, all right, if I'm going to keep growing this, got to hire somebody. So it's kind of, again, just things happening. It's like, all right, it's time. Let's make it happen.
When did you start your business?
So we're actually on our 10 years this year.
So you beat me. You're a year older than
this is our
us.
10-year anniversary.
That's not a small feat. That's a big deal.
Well, I was reading a book, and it was talking about how, like, actually I have it written down here. I'll tell you the statistics. It was it made me like, I didn't really think much about it,
right?
But when I saw this in the book, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. So 1 million, and this is an old statistic, so I don't know how much has changed. This was from like 2010 or something, but 1 million small businesses are started every year. 40% are out of business after the first year. Within 5 years, more than 80% of them are out of business. And then more than 80% of the businesses that survive the first 5 fail in the second 5. So I don't know what that math works out to, but it's something like 5% of the businesses last 10 years or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. And I read that like at the end of last year, and I was like, damn, we're coming up on our 10 years. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
What would you say, having a family, starting a business, like that's all, like, it's a challenging thing to balance. I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to ask here. Like, in balancing starting a business and still being a father, like, what was the most challenging thing you would say in that process?
Well, I can tell you a lot of what not to do, because I probably made the mistake and then learned from the mistake. The hardest thing, I think, is shutting it off when you go to vacation, right? Obviously, when I think there was some definitely lines blurring, which created a lot of probably unneeded stress when the business was in the home, right? Because it's like, I remember one Saturday, I don't know how they got my name and number. These dudes came up in a van, unmarked van, and were like, I'd like to buy some solar panels from you. I'm just like, what? Like, that's not what we do. I'm not a broker of solar panels. That's go online or something like that. Well, we're a solar guy, cut us a deal. And I'm just like, and so that freaked my wife out. Unfortunately, he was okay. So one of my top sales guys, he actually ran. He'll probably listen to this. I won't name him, but he actually inadvertently ran over one of our dogs. The dog survived though. He was a tough little booger. And it was just one of those like, what am I doing type, like what, we can't have that happen to a kid. And we live pretty outdoors. Like we're pretty, live free lifestyle, like
you think a dog would be smarter than that, but my dog gets behind me sometimes. I'm like, get out of the way.
Well, he was excited, but like the kids, we let him roam the property. Like that's how we moved there for a lifestyle. We didn't want to be in town where we had to say, you can't go here, you can't go there. Hey, we had some trees, we had a little creek, just go have fun, and so that I do that definitely say is if, the business side is definitely keep those separations. And then the other hard time I feel like I do sometimes a poor job is vacation, like shutting it all the way off, right? Because if I'm going to be there, let's be in the moment.
Yeah.
How about you, dude? You're in the same boat as I am. You got a growing business and.
Yeah, I think for me is I usually do a pretty good job of leaving things at work and, not taking stress out on the family or anything like that. I'm usually pretty good about that. But, sometimes, my wife will notice I'm like, just off in a thought or something, and so sometimes being present can be a challenge. I would say overall the toughest thing for me is that like, okay, something needs to be done at work. I know it needs to be done. Like, before I had kids, I would just work until it was done. Right. You know what I mean? Like I was work 12, 14-hour days, whatever, get it done. Like I was knocking websites out in a night. Like I would just work nonstop until it was done. You know what I mean? And since having kids, I can't do that. Like I can't just work and get it done. Yeah. And more like I could, like, my wife supports and whatever she feels I need to do, or I feel I need to do, she supports it. But I don't like not being there. Like I know that the kids are only going to be young for so long. I've watched enough videos. I've had enough people tell me spend the time with them. Like they're only going to be young for so long. And not only that, they're only going to want to hang out with you for so long. Like once they get, and you probably know this with having older ones, once they get to a certain age, like they don't really care so much about hanging out with you. You
gotta incentivize them a little bit. You gotta, you can work. I think, there's something to that, but there's also, you can work that a little bit. There's some
they got friends or they're busy with sports all the time.
Yeah, it definitely looks different.
Or whatever it is. So I'm just trying to soak that in as much as possible. Yeah, but, and the times I have like stayed here at work and tried to like work late, once it hits that like 7 o'clock, 7:30, I know they're about to go to bed. I'm like, I want to go home and put my kids to bed. You know what I mean? So that's just a big internal like mental struggle, you know what I mean? Of like, I want to get this stuff done, but I know this. So I pretty much always prioritize the family in those situations. Cause again, I just want as much time with them as possible,
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
It's a battle though. Cause you think like, okay, what if I just work really hard for 6 months and then the business is at this point and then maybe I don't have to work as much, or we'll be more successful here. It's like,
I was talking to this with a group of my buddies. I'm in with some other CEOs around town, and we were talking about that. We were talking about no matter how far we get, our brains work so that there's always going to be something more we want.
Next
and
level,
I think the key is what you said is the moment. And it's sometimes easier than others. It definitely, it's cool. We took a trip. I know you do trips with your family, so we did this. This is a cool one. This family, like we committed to like 10-day road trip in an RV.
The RV, right?
Across the United States. That was, again, it was super like, it was so cool, so fun. I don't think we'll do it. This is our last chance. I have a 17-year-old, right? I don't know if we'll ever have a chance where everybody's there. We'll probably do it again, but it probably won't be all 6 of us and our little dog. He's a little dachshund.
Yeah.
His name is Cookie.
That's fun.
He went with us, and it was hilarious. You know what I mean? Just
well, right around that time, I don't remember if it was right after.
Right.
I think it was right
You went
after
too,
you did it.
yeah.
We did a 3-week one, and we just did it in our van.
3 weeks. Good for.
Now
so
we stopped at hotels, you know what I mean? But we just did it in our van. But yeah,
Did you do any overnights in your van or camping, or did you just
no?
find a space?
I pitched it, but my wife was like, "No, we're not doing that." I was like, "Damn it, save us so much money."
Yeah.
But
Dude, 3 weeks. Kudos to you, man. That you were putting your money where your mouth is.
It was a little bit less. It ended up being a little bit less than 3 weeks. We cut it a little bit short, but it was amazing, man. It was. I'm like so happy we did. It was like one of the best trips ever, and the kids still talk about it.
Did you go west or where'd you go?
We went up through Idaho.
Oh,
right,
cool.
Idaho. Yeah. Wait, Idaho. Well, we went up to Montana. Was our first stop.
Right.
What's on the way up there? What am I missing? Not Idaho. Idaho's after Montana, right?
Wyoming.
South Dakota. Yeah. We went through South Dakota and got some great little stops there. Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls is amazing.
Amazing little town. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun there.
We did too. South Dakota was like the surprise. We're like, oh, it's South Dakota. We would go back just to South Dakota.
Yeah,
and do that whole. Just do it again and again.
Yeah, we had a great time going through there. Honestly, everywhere was so fun. I spent a lot of time planning. You know what I mean? And it really paid off because it was like, all right, we're gonna stop here. This is the stuff we're gonna have time to do. We have to leave by this time. And although it seemed a little bit too structured, I left us some leniency in there. But yeah, we went up to Montana for a wedding. That's what prompted this whole thing. So we went up there for a wedding. We're there for a few days. And then along the way, I think we took 2 nights to get there. So we made a couple stops on the way there. And then from there, we slowly made our way to Washington to visit my brother.
Oh, you made it all the way across.
Yeah, so it was big, And on the way, we went to Mount Rushmore and just a bunch of these little tourist spots. You know what I mean? Went to spent again up in Montana. Went to the national parks up there and had a great time. And then, stopped at some places on the way to Washington, stayed with my brother for a few days, came back down through Wyoming, booked a cabin, like right on the lake there. It was just freaking amazing. Oh, yeah. Right there by the Tetons,
right.
Lake Teton.
Yeah, we were almost past. Yeah, we went through the Tetons and the Black Hills and did the what do you call it, the big heads on, why can't the name come to me, where the big heads are on the...
Yeah, Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. I can't say Mount Rushmore. Yeah, that was a funny tourist trap.
Yeah,
isn't the funniest little thing?
This looks good. Pretty much like the pictures.
We were joking.
Time to
the
go.
Whole time. My older boys were being super political. They're joking. They're like, guaranteed Trump tries to get on there.
I was joking about that too.
Like that's like what he wants.
Yeah, I was like, looks like there's room for him up there. But it was just, man, we had such a good time. Wyoming's crazy though. Did you guys went
Cody?
Through
Went to Cody during Cody. Yeah, we did Wyoming and the Tetons, so we went across. Cody was awesome too. Especially, it's like a real cowboy. Like they real cowboy town.
Did you go through like all the way across Wyoming then? Because Wyoming's crazy because the Tetons, it's all forest and lush, and then you get in, it's like desert.
It's desert. Where
so
Cody
crazy,
is, it's rodeo, desert. Country, that was cool.
Jessica's like, where are we? I'm like, we're still in Wyoming. But yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I think I had a timer on the car going, and I think we had like 100 hours in the car.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was
How'd
crazy.
you keep your kids? I mean, you got little guys.
They did amazing. Yeah, I can't believe how well they did. Yeah. It was, again, we stopped a lot, and I planned a lot of fun things. Like one of our hotels had a water park attached to it. We went to the by Mount Rushmore. We went to the reptile gardens where they had like, watching people wrestle alligators and
that's awesome.
All kinds of stuff there. So I planned a lot of fun stuff. They did amazing though. I mean, I think our longest haul in the car was like 10 or 11 hours. Yeah. So I tried to keep it around 7 or 8 at the most. Right. But we had one that was like 10 or 11.
Oh, the RV. Your kids are all playing video games in the back, and they're moving around, so you don't even say you need to stop.
Like,
you just switch it right. You just switch it off. Try not to rubberneck and be a part of it.
I've always wanted to do it in an RV though, with like a.
Yeah, they're playing Mario Kart. They're playing Mario Kart on the Switch. All four of them, because that's one game where all four of them can play at the same time. The other interesting one where you have a 17-year-old and an 8-year-old, you can do Minecraft together. It's enough, which I thought was actually really cool because again the different levels.
Yeah, we definitely we don't let them get on screens too much. But during that trip, it's kind of a free for all.
So they probably enjoy it. You're like, screens.
Yeah.
Like, Dad.
We had the van's got TVs in it.
Yeah.
And then it's got internet. I just paid for internet for the month or whatever. And then so everybody had internet and iPads and TVs and stuff. So they stayed pretty busy with movies and we talked a lot. Actually, it was fun. We used AI, and we would have it tell us stories about random stuff.
Oh yeah. No
so
kidding.
I had the phone connected, and I'd be like, all right, tell me something crazy you want to hear a story about. To like my oldest, he'd just come up with something wild. And then I'd be like, and then I'd just tell it. I'm like, tell me a 10-minute story about this, and it would just come up with a story. It was cool. So yeah, it was fun. What was your favorite part of the trip?
Oh man, I tell you, there's so many highlights. Cody, Wyoming, going to the real rodeo. Like these are like it's like the circuit that feeds into the it's like the pro-ams. Like they're trying to make it, so they're just going all out. I didn't think I'd enjoy that as much as I did. The second is the Black Hills. In South Dakota. I don't know if you stopped, but literally we stopped at this Jellystone, theme park, and right outside of it, you could rent these ATVs. There's thousands and thousands of miles of public trails. I mean, literally, we paid them $200, and they just gave us ATV. I love South Dakota.
Awesome.
It's like one of those like deregulated states.
Yeah.
So you're like here's $200. They're like, just don't die, try not to, and and it was really cool. We rented a couple of those and. The kids are, once we got away, the kids are driving them on real trails, and it was a really cool experience.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait for the kids to get older for some stuff like that.
Yeah, but then like my 8-year-old, of course, she was on the lap driving, and that, we were talking about how to angle through cool rock formations and things. So never did anything like that before. So
so we talked about parenting in business in general. What's been one of the either like the hardest part or like one of the biggest things you learned in, since you started the business?
Oh man, I think the power of network is incredible. Like in how we treat people. The power of networks is huge. It's just creating partnerships within business is such a big deal. Not trying to just do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then because you can just compound, you can, because there's certain things I think I'm starting to realize, like there's certain things I'm good at, and then I'm not good at a lot of things, but there are other people that do want to do it. Similar to the situation with like the paperwork person. There's somebody that wants to do paperwork. There's somebody that can get me leads, online. I just need to find that person because I don't want to hire. I don't want to, because you start off, you just want to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to hire, or you think you can do it better than somebody else, and you're like, nah, I can do solar, I can do electrical, really good. Let's just find partners for all that stuff.
Yeah. So finding the right people for the right responsibilities.
Yes, so trying to find people that do what they say. And then you find them, it's awesome, because the relationship goes so deep, so.
Yeah. Well, I know you got a tight day today. Is there anything else that we missed or that we should hit on?
Yeah, no, it's still, I know the battery, I talked about the battery stuff. Yeah, education first, that's what we do. And so we love to take a look and see if we can help I was talking with a stomach drop when you open the bill. We want to take that out of your life. But if we can't do it, we won't ask for your business. And so, and sometimes we can do it over the phone or online, so we don't have to do a drive because that's expensive. But yeah, that's what we love to do is help people. There are solutions. You don't have to wait till batteries to potentially save, though that's coming. So there are incentives. There's ways to do it. Power price is high, and so we can provide relief. That's what we love to help people do. So
nice.
Yep.
Well, definitely check them out. Is it just legacysolar.com?
No, unfortunately not. Somebody else bought it. LegacySolarPower.com. LegacySolarPower.com.
All right. Yeah, they're based right by Bloomington, but servicing Central
90 miles.
Illinois.
Yeah, we do a ton. We do it in Springfield. We do it in Champaign. We do it all over Pontiac. We do it in Peoria. We do anywhere 90 miles. That's where our range is. So.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you both as a client. We appreciate you getting us set up to save some money on our electric bill this summer, which will be amazing.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you coming on. We'll have to, once this battery stuff starts kicking in, we might have to come back and tell us a little bit more about what's going on.
Yes, absolutely. Would love to do that.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Luke.
Yeah, thank you.